Good morning, folks. Happy Tuesday. We are going to do a super quick garden tour today, and I'm actually going to skip the flower beds. I don't have a ton of time, but everything is like bursting. I mean, it's so awesome to see. And I have to go into town for an appointment this morning, so we're going to be brief. And yes, I could have waited, but it's too exciting not to share. We've had quite a bit of rain. It is very humid. It is quite warm these last few days. But I am grateful for the rain because it means I don't have to water. And again, with Mr. Man traveling quite a bit, obviously for me to like fill the water tank and do all that stuff myself ends up being a little bit challenging. I can do it obviously, but like it's not my favorite thing to have to do. So I'm super, super grateful for the rain. Okay, we're going to start up here. So I know this looks just like grass. We have tried many, many times to get melons started and established like on this strip, and it has not worked except for these 3 Minnesota midget melons. They're like a very small, like personal size cantaloupe. And so they're doing good. For those of you that grow in containers, a great container variety, you could get some chicken wire. You could get, like they have decorative trellises at like Tractor Supply or Big Lots or, big box stores, whatever, and easily grow those in a 5-gallon bucket. So I container garden for a long time, and so I would like to make sure that people know like when things are very like container garden friendly. Because to grow your own food, like you don't need acres and acres. And I always want to make sure like people feel like the ability to do something a little bit self-sustaining is extremely accessible. And 5-gallon buckets, you can often find them free in places, but if you have to buy them, typically they're only a couple dollars. And so, you know what? That makes a sufficient container, y'all. Okay. These are our onions. They are very small. We pulled them the other day. We've been getting a ton of rain, which is fantastic. But like when you're pulling garlic and onions, you want a dry spell because it helps, especially if you're planning on storing them, it will really help to cut back on like rot and on them going bad. You don't want to harvest things that you're going to store when they're quite moist, because it's harder for them to get the water out. So this is why I label things, because I can't remember. There are some variegated small baby pumpkins in here, and then I think some of these are sugar pie pumpkins, and they're starting to take off. I don't want to have to be harvesting them until the fall, though, and so I did intentionally plant them a little bit later. And so they run up. We had more planted up this row here, but obviously, as you can see, they didn't survive. The squash bugs took over, etc., etc. I I have a lot of weeding to do, so please don't judge me. I know I have a lot of weeding to do. It is on my list this week to get it done up here. These are all of our peppers, and they go up that way. And this was just like a random conglomeration of peppers that I had left over from the ones that I planted in the high tunnel, which we will go take a look at. And so there are some sweet and some hot peppers in there. Okay, peppers also, another great thing to grow in containers. They don't need tons and tons of space. You could put a pepper in a 5-gallon bucket with like a bunch of different kinds of herbs, and they would grow beautifully. Our tomatoes here are really starting to take off, which I love. I need to prune these, so I typically will prune them to about here. So all these branches, but you have to be really careful again when you're getting lots of rain. We do have rain coming the next couple days, that you're not pruning things because when you're getting lots of rain, you can invite disease by opening up wounds in your plant. So I try to wait again until like I know we're gonna have a dry spell, and then I will prune the tomatoes. But I need to go up and look and see what variety is in this row, because I don't remember. This row is I got the seeds from the Children's Seed Co. They're a small family out of Asheville, family business out of Asheville, North Carolina. I have gotten seeds from them, and I've always had incredible success. And I love that they like get their kids involved with like packing seeds and stuff like that. I think that's so awesome. And so these are the Rosa di Caglione tomato. Ideally more of like a canning tomato, but obviously any tomato can be used slicer for any purpose. All right, our squash are doing really, really good. I harvested a couple of these patty pan squash yesterday. I don't know if you can see that, but I don't have my snips with me, of course, but this is a full-grown size. This is the early bush scallop variety, and so 2 to 4 inches is full grown on these guys. But you know, again, to me that's perfect because we do suffer with squash bugs and things like that like so badly here, and I just keep succession sowing squash constantly throughout the season just to try to like get ahead of it. And so, you know, like, and then we're alternating the early bush scallop with the Black Beauty zucchini. I don't know if you can see that guy in there. Ooh, there it is. There's a bigger one here. Killed a cucumber beetle, but it looks like I probably need to pull that one off. And yes, we have squash bugs and cucumber beetles all over these plants. Welcome to Central Virginia, y'all, in the summertime. That is just... Those are eggs. Obviously, when I see those, pull them off and squish them. I do come out here. It's like half of what I spend my time doing up in this garden up here is pulling squash bugs, squishing them, pulling cucumber beetles, squishing them, and pulling eggs from those things off of plants. We've got a couple more down in there. You can see that. So I've got a bunch of these that I could harvest this morning, but yes, you harvest them very small. And we had some with dinner last night. Surprisingly, my daughter, who is not a fan of squash, I did just like a sauteed veggie medley with some tomatoes, some chopped up broccoli, and some of these chopped up sauteed in the pan, just like a little bit of salt and avocado oil, and she ate it up. She loved it. So that obviously like mummy for the win there. This row here are our Colima beans. We have already harvested many, many beans, and these beans, like the one thing I love about them is they are just so prolific. I need to come tie up some of these plants, but I love these beans, y'all. Like the first year I grew them, I was just like trying I could have done like haricot vert or something like that, but I was like, let me try this. They're the sweetest green beans. I mean, they are so delicious. I could seriously sit here and just snack on these like all morning. They're amazing. But I don't have time for garden snacks today. Alright, I'm going to turn this around here. So, these are our potatoes going down there. We have the French fingerlings here. These are the Yukon Golds. And these are the Norland Reds. We've grown these two before. They did incredibly well for us. The kind of expected yield on potatoes, again, as long as you're feeding them, hilling them up, doing all the right things should be about 5 times the planted quantity. And that is exactly what we got last year, actually, on both the Yukon Golds and on the Red Norlands. I do not chip my potatoes, which is where, like, if you have one potato that has a couple eyes on it, you would cut it, let it scab over, and then plant it. I didn't do that because I didn't want the potatoes sitting around. And they're obviously a longer season crop, so we wanted to get them in. So we'll see this year. Like, we had some massive of the Yukon Golds. And so I'm hoping that we still like get a good yield of potatoes off of them. But our goal is to store them this year. So this patch right here, obviously, I know, very weedy. Ignore the weeds. This is the Nootka Rose garlic. It is starting to send up scapes, and so we will trim those scapes off and then let them go again until we get another dry spell. In fact, I've got a garlic scape right here. So we'll let them go until we end up with another dry spell, and then we will harvest this garlic also. The German white and the music garlic we harvested already. And this is our beautiful corn that is growing incredibly. And y'all, like, it truly has made such a difference in the weeds mulching. I will never plant these crops with like corn and potatoes again and not mulch. It has cut back on the weeds so incredibly, and then that cuts back on a lot of back-breaking work, which is awesome. So it's starting to, I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me see if we can zoom in. Starting to put tassels on right there, which is really cool. And then we had volunteer watermelons growing. And so I fed them with some bone meal the other day. And they're doing great. And we're just going to let them continue. I see some squash bugs there. But we got really good yields of watermelons. Those are the Black Diamond from last year. So I was very happy to see them. I planted watermelons, but the seeds didn't do anything. I think the soil was just too thick and clayey. So that is what it is. I'm going to pick a couple more of these squash here. All right, we're going to head down to the high tunnel and the lower garden. I have got, I've got like 12 more minutes until I need to be heading home, getting myself ready, and heading off to my appointment. I planted Romanian chamomile up here, but I'll talk about that when maybe tomorrow I'll go do a flower bed garden tour. I think my plan is to go to the market this week. We don't have a lot of mushrooms, but I do have tincture flowers. I might make some bread and do that. We'll see. It is pretty wet and soppy down here. But again, I'll never complain about rain. Because if it's raining, it means I'm not watering. So I'm happy about that. The other thing I haven't done in a while is check on the bees. And what I will probably do... Oh, that was slippery. Oh gosh. What I will probably... I try to be really careful, guys, because these bees can be... Bill was like over here with the tractor this weekend, and they like came up out of the hive and like went to sting him. Like, it was bizarre. So I don't know if like they got Africanized and now they're like super aggressive or what, but I will just make sure that I have gear on. I had a tomato fall down. Come on, buddy, stay up there. I need to weave you through here. Ooh! I need to get some twine. Put that guy up. But, all right. So in this row here, I have the Hungarian heart tomatoes. They will obviously get way taller than this trellis, but I might do like string and hooks from the thing and have them climb up there. I do try to keep them pruned to a single leader, but like this one, obviously more than that. The calendula is starting to die back. I have started harvesting seeds off of the pods. I can show you guys. Like these little weird looking wormy things, like those are the seeds. And so if they're completely dry, you can go ahead and harvest them with, those are not dry. And then we have, again, I think these are the sugar pie pumpkins, I'm fairly certain. And they are just starting to, my kind of goal is to let them just go that way. But as you can see, that is nuts, and that's climbing up, and that's what pumpkins do. I'm not mad at it though. They're looking pretty healthy. Mullein, I've started harvesting some flowers from the mullein. Ground cherries, which my Sophie loves. And as you can see, these worms, I need to come out and get all these. I mean, they get really aggressive and they will decimate these plants very quickly. It's okay though. I didn't really expect to get many, if any, Brussels sprouts. Got some golden oysters growing from mushroom compost that I put down. I'm not mad at that. So okra, I had to restart because we had deer in here. The plants that had leaves on them, I left, and they are starting to come back now, which I probably need to close this side when I leave today, just because, you know, the deer will get in here. They will eat the peppers. They will eat literally everything. So I think they were a little too nervous to like come all the way in, and so they just like poked their heads in and got the stuff that was here on the edge, and then that was on the edge down there. But my honey put up netting on the sides, so we can still roll up and down the sides like in the winter when it gets cold, but when it's up, they can't get in through that way, which is perfect. The Chiltepin peppers here, and these are the shishitos here. And I've kind of taken a break from actually watering in here because the ground underneath is so wet. And I was adding compost and turning this soil over, and it was like sopping underneath. And so I just decided, like, because I don't want to have rot issues, that I'm going to leave some of these, but I do have some peppers. I mean, obviously they're super tiny, but starting to grow and everything's flowering, which is a very good sign. I will take it. Lots of hot peppers. I had some large watermelon seeds that I saved, and so I just planted a couple in this row. And then we have volunteer tomatoes and ground cherries here, which is fine. I'm going to let those do their thing. I have started harvesting pods from the broccoli, and the seeds are ready to go. So I don't have to buy broccoli seeds for next year, which I'm happy about. I've got more than enough. These are the Dixie Hybrid Yellow Squash, and I may put up like a trellis kind of in between and let them climb. I may let them just cover the ground. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. My cilantro that has started to go to seed, and again, just I can have seeds for next year, and I don't have to buy any. We harvested so much cilantro. I was so happy this year. All right, our sweet peppers. Whew, I would definitely categorize these as stunted, y'all. They are not growing like nuts. I will say, like in this corner here, because of like this beam and how the ceiling is, or the roll-up thing, it like stays a little bit more shady over here. And so I think that's one reason why like these have not taken off as well. They are now starting to get a little bit bigger. My other issue is that these ones over here are the Criolla de Cocina. And again, if you've watched prior videos, oh, they're starting to flower. Well, that's a good sign. If you watch prior videos, prior years, you know that like I have grown these many, many times. They have never given me big, beautiful peppers or insane yields. And, you know, like I like to give stuff the benefit of the doubt. So like I was trying, but I will not be wasting garden space or energy to grow those again. These are the Sweet Nonas. Again, I got from Kids Seed Co. And they're doing a lot better and taking off much more. Weeds I need to clear out. These are arugula. And I want to save seeds from this because I don't, again, have any arugula. So they look like they might need to dry out a little bit more. I planted, these are Brandywine tomatoes here. These are Cherokee, these are Carbon tomatoes, and then these are Cherokee purple. So we'll see. Again, kale, gone to seed. Need to come down and save seeds for that. I'm trying to be really careful with my brassicas though, so I don't mix up seed pods because all of the seeds look incredibly similar. And then this lettuce that again needs to get torn out. So that is the high tunnel. Woo! And we got mud that washed. I mean, you can't even see like the end of that bed. It just washed down this hill. So Mr. Man was digging trenches, trying to keep some of it at bay there. All right, raised bed garden. I'm very happy, very proud of how this looks. I think that is absolutely beautiful. These are the cucamelons, the Mexican sour gherkins. They'll climb up this trellis, and then I planted some ground cherries in there. I probably didn't need to plant ground cherries because we do have a lot of volunteers, but you know, you never have too many, I feel like. Lettuces, this is the Bronze Beauty, and this is the Butter Crunch, like a very similar, like a bib type lettuce. We need to finish filling this bed. Has not happened yet. This bed is mostly herbs. I've been trimming like thyme and basil and stuff. But this is the Aunt Ruby's German green tomato. And then this one is a random tomato, and I don't remember what variety it is, but I just took basically a cutting off on one of those and planted it here. And I've got some weedy weeds, just like everywhere else that I need to pull. The chamomile that volunteered here is doing very well, which I love. Here's a really funny thing, y'all. My guy found a snake skin and decided to hang it there. He said, oh, maybe it'll like keep the squirrels away or whatever, which I don't know if that's going to work, but I thought that was hilarious. Tulsi, and then the Amish paste tomatoes that are just going gangbusters. Again, need to be pruned, but I'm waiting for a dry spell. This bed is going to have a very special purpose. We are going to plant rhubarb, but while I have the rhubarb roots, you don't plant rhubarb until fall or very early spring, and so I'm waiting for the fall to get that put in there. Pineapple tomato. That is a cucumber beetle. Oh. I just crush them. I know that might sound horrible to some people or really gross, but you know what? After you've been gardening for so many years, like certain things that like would originally gross most people out, like don't really gross you out anymore. I have stakes that for each bed that has tomatoes that like I meant to put in the corners and then put this black netting around and then over top so that squirrels and crows don't get in and obliterate my tomatoes like they have done every single year. Oh my gosh, is that Y'all, if I have a hornworm already, I am going to just... I mean, seriously? That can't be right. It's too early. No freaking way. Well, I might have to come down here with a black light and do some hornworm hunting later. It's a little tip I learned from Jess at Roots and Refuge, y'all. Like coming out with a black light at night to try to find the hornworms. You'll see them because they're kind of iridescent green. And they do tend to blend in. So if you can't find them, that's a good way to do it. Oh, have mercy. All right. I planted honeydew melons here. Our squash, I'm sorry, not our squash. Our cucumbers got eaten by deer very early on. I have left some of the plants that still had leaves on them. And then I came in here and interplanted Punakira cucumbers. We grew them last year. They grow them in India, so they're a little bit more like heat tolerant. And then there's some... No, buddy, you wind around here. These are the autumn zebra pole beans. And I have literally never gotten enough of those pole beans to grow more than just... like, to be able to just save seeds for the next season. But this year, I'm hoping that changes. Tulsi on the edges of the beds. There is a ton of basil in here. Little tarragon, which I actually did plant more tarragon. The deer don't like the Tulsi because of it's kind of got like a fuzzy texture on the outside. So I'm kind of counting on that to... Oh, come here. Gotcha. I'm kind of counting on that to save me. Oh, look, little baby cuke. Oh, I hope that grows, buddy. Come on. All right. So those are the raised beds. Just need some sunshine, y'all, and I think we will. All right, I'm getting down to the wire here. So, you know what? We'll talk about in-ground beds another day because I really have to get going. I had to go out and take care of the chickens and stuff this morning as I usually do, and for some reason I just got stinky and smelly and I can't go into an appointment. Don't want to go into an appointment being all stinky and smelly and yucky, so I'm gonna go hose myself off before I have to leave. And it would probably be good to get some breakfast in me also. But anyway, so we are at June 17th, not quite a month from the first garden tour I did. I think that one was either May 22nd or May 24th. But I'm looking over here at the flower beds and I can't wait to show you guys that because it looks beautiful. But a lot happens in a month, y'all. I'm gonna go grab these couple squash that I pulled. So, pretty quick on the garden tour today. I missed a couple things, like talking about the fava beans and all that, but we'll catch those another time. And yeah, a little less than a month. That's what grows, y'all. It's pretty awesome. We'll talk about the orchard also next time. All right. But thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you on the next one.